So, if people haven't noticed, I'm not really making a whole lot of content anymore. And if you're wondering why I decided not to make content a whole lot, I've covered the topic in at least three other vlogs. So you could go back and you know look through the earlier vlogs that I made until you find the ones that cover this topic. But so um, I think that I could probably kind of just like sum up everything about the operation that a person needs to know in this one video. Um, yeah, so like what makes this operation effective is that there are a lot of people involved in it, and these people basically have like a psychological profile of you that they can kind of just use to manipulate you with. So there are a couple things that would need to happen in order to make these people successful. The first is that they would have to watch you and study you for a while. They would have to like learn about you enough to know the things that you dislike. They would also have to have a lot of antisocial people who are loyal to them that will do whatever they ask them to do. And they would have to have like some people in high positions that are completely corrupt or dirty. If you have all three of these things, you could successfully do what they're doing. Um, so like with me, so basically you have to have enough power to make it so that a person cannot be successful. And once you do that, the rest kind of falls into place. So like one of the things about poverty that people really have to understand is that you don't have as many options as a normal person. Like you can't go anywhere and do whatever you want. Like you are limited because you don't have money. So like the first thing they're going to do is set it up so for you to not be successful financially. Once they've done that, everything else is pretty simple after that. Like you can't just buy whatever you want from whatever place you want to buy it. You can't leave. You can't really do a whole lot. So I think that that's kind of to keep the system, the way they want the system to be, to keep things under control. But these people are complete sociopaths. I used to tell people that they represent the devil, in my opinion. And they will constantly push your buttons, and it's like you have to understand what they're doing in order to sort of defend yourself against it. Like, so like everything they do is calculated. Like going back to what I wanted to say, before I got kind of sidetracked, is that what makes this operation effective is that they have a lot of street people. I mean, a lot of street people. And these people have no pride. They don't really care, like about their image. They can do anything. Some of them are drug addicts. Some of them are prostitutes. These street people will do whatever the gang stalkers want them to do. Anything. And they don't really care how they look or whether they're recorded. So they don't really have like an image of themselves that is high, or they don't care. They'll just do whatever these people ask them to do. So they have that, and they have someone on top who probably does have some sort of mind reading technology. And Stephen Mata was talking about that. He's in your head, finding out whether you're pissed about this or not. Oh, the only thing I wanted to say about the mind reading technology is you would think that they would already know that the operation isn't effective on me and just give it a rest, but apparently they don't know that, so I don't know. But I do believe that they have access to this technology. Now, why they haven't learned, that this operation isn't effective against me, I don't know. But I believe they do have access to that. But but going back to the point. So they basically, what they're going to do is they're going to study you long enough to figure out what you hate. And once they figured it out, they're going to get their street people to just continuously use it against you. So like it's just like, well, if you didn't like this one thing, or these two things, or these three things, they would constantly do these things over and over again until you just become absolutely triggered, and then you act out. And that basically sums up the entire operation. So they need to know that you have weaknesses. They need to know that there are things that you hate that they can do. And once they know that, they'll just have their street thugs constantly do it over and over again. Like it's just like, well, I don't like certain things. So they have their street thugs constantly doing these things over and over again. It's really that simple. I mean, I've been in this operation for a very long time, and everything that people do is geared towards making me hate them, or they just constantly do things that I hate, things that are annoying. Like, it's like if you don't like being around people, then they constantly have people around you. So Vice had covered this in one of the series they had. It's called The Secret World of Gang-Stalking. So it was like in that show, there was like, I think the guy was homosexual or something, and he was like, the gang stalkers would constantly have people doing homosexual stuff every time he walked outside. So that's pretty accurate. That's what they do. So they figure if you don't like something, they just constantly do it. And that's basically how the operation works. So if there was, like, if you didn't have anything that pissed you off, they would poke around until they kind of, got a reaction out of you. And once they get a reaction out of you, then they will just consistently do it over and over again. So like, if you don't have weaknesses, they'll still harass you, but they'll just kind of be like seeing if something bothers you by poking, and they'll poke you. So they'll try something out and see whether you react to it. And if you react to it, then they'll constantly do it. So these people are basically of the devil. They're Satan's people. They behave the way you would expect them to behave as Satan's people, essentially. They're the devil's people. And you have to understand that in order to explain the whole situation away. They're Satan's people. They are Satan's people. That's why they do what they do. That's why they feel the need to do it. I don't want to push religion on people or push spirituality on people, but I literally can't come up with a better explanation than that. So if you're targeted, what you need to know is that these people have been studying you enough to kind of know the things that would bother you. And then they're just going to basically consistently use these things against you. Constantly just send the street drug addict thugs and basically gang members, thugs, murderers, all these types of people, and they'll just like recruit them and then send them after you. And then these people will find out everything that you hate and build an operation around it in which they're constantly doing it all day, every single day. And I think that's pretty much everything you need to know about how this works. But even if it doesn't bother you, they will still try, because they want to kind of see if you react to certain things. Like, they'll still send people to see if you react. And if they gauge a reaction, then they will just like do it more. So I think that's really everything you need to know. I mean, it's more complicated than that, because there's a spiritual element to it, which makes it more complicated. If you wanted to just get a non-spiritual take on the operation, I would just leave you with that. I mean, the videos are just covering like how they do it. But that is, in a nutshell, that is what they're doing. So I just hope that you can sort of outmaneuver them now that you have this information, in case you didn't already notice stuff, right? But I'm going to go ahead and close with that. And I just want people to kind of understand what they're dealing with. So with that said, let me go ahead and close.